Oh, Dr. Rod, turn it up for Grenada. Yeah, my land that you celebrate 50. Some call you a little baby. Others say you Johnny come lately. Oh, yo, but they don't know about your history. All the things you have been through was too much for you. Yet you had resilience to stand them. Revolution, intervention, and crew. Yet you produce some beautiful children. This is the land that has famous people like Junior Murray. This is the land, Anderson Peters and Champion Kirani. Land of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, we cannot let of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, it will be great. This is the land, we produce people like the mighty sparrow. This is the land, Randy Isaac Becky, we did a jamo. Land of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, we cannot let of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, it will be great. We don't talk much about your troubles, no, no. You have been through many struggles, that's true. Yet you rose up from the rubbles, yeah, yeah. Proving resilience as a people. Storms and hurricane, yet you came back again. Even COVID-19 couldn't stop you. So much destructive human try to destroy this island. Yet we're standing strong as a nation. This is the land, let's remember the godfather of this country. This is the land, the right honorable Eric Matthew Gary. Land of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, we cannot let of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, it will be great. This is the land, yeah, Mary Shokit, Mitchell and Deacon. This is the land, some strong leaders that come from this island. Land of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, we cannot let of my birth. Let's celebrate 50, it would be great. Big celebration for my little island. Let's celebrate. Oh, let us celebrate. Big celebration for my little island. Let's celebrate. Whoa, whoa, let us celebrate. Let's celebrate. 50, we made it to half a century. Let's celebrate. Whoa, whoa, come, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. 50, we made it to half a century. Let's celebrate. Yeah, yeah, let's celebrate. Whoa. This is the land. We have got Felix and Jennifer hosting. This is the land. Maurice Bishop, Robert Blaze and George Prison. Land of my birth. Let's celebrate. 50, we cannot let of my birth. Let's celebrate. 50, it will be great. This is the land. We have Killer Boys, it all free and squeezy. This is the land. Dash Terra Thunder and Little Natty. Land of my birth. Mr. Leg, King Color, Teacher Eddie. Land of my birth. Valinet and Lady Cinty. Land of my birth. Lava Man, Goonies Pack and Electrify. Land of my birth. Whoa, 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 whoa. Land of my birth. I just cannot mention everybody. Land of my birth. All Grenadians just sing this song with me. Land of my birth. Land of my birth.
Mommy! Whoa!
And good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. It's our Friday night forum.
Big celebration. It is when Grenadians show their patriotism. Independence not the time for no damn confusion. If you think I go come here,
So if you find a little more music than normal tonight, don't vex. It's a Friday night, a rainy one at that.
you know I prefer
Saying a special good night to all of you listening locally, regionally, and internationally.
independence not the time for no damn controversy. I could have say how the country fall down flat. Now it's not the time for that. No Grenadian living like dog and cat. Now it's not the time for that. How certain people riding plane like bus. Now it's not the time for that. Why the hell they have put Grenada first? Now it's not the time for that. I'd rather sing something to make everybody happy. Cause we celebrating a milestone 15.
Let me say a special good night to the children. At least you get a week a little longer tonight. Good night to you, Zayla, Zoe, Zalia, Deshawn, Neela, and Namara. Hope you all have a wonderful night tonight.
If we only unite as one, we could build a stronger nation. So that we sing songs of unification.
Somebody tell me exactly where the semi-finals to the independents are taking place. I think it's St. David, but I'm not sure, yeah? Well, Rootsman Kelly is not in, yeah. For some reason, this song did not make it into the finals, yeah?
Carnival is the time for bacchanal when you make all your scandal. And in your Christmas song, you could call people living parent. But if you have any sense of patriotic dignity, beyond your best behavior, wrong 7 February 1974.
Let me say a good night to those of you under the Facebook. So good night to you, Olive, Norma, Sunny, ILIC, Sherms is there. Let me see who else is there. Ellie, Diana, Teresa, Maudlin, and Leo is there. Good night to you as well. And Amina, good night to you. Good night to you, Jill and Maxan. And Maxan, good night to you. And tell your folks a special good night for me, yeah? Nice. And let me see who else is there. Come on. Yeah. Cicely is there. Denise Fabio, I call you out already. Nice. John Mark, good night to you. Joan Henry. Louisa Williams. Norma Roberts. Hikda Mahon, good night. Cynthia B, good night to you. Wallan Aquat. Yeah, so I'm seeing Chris C. Good night to you, Marianne. And Shirley and Amina. Good night to all of you. Hope that you all are having a wonderful night. I don't know why that song ain't make it into the finals, into the semi-finals. I don't know. They may be other reason.
In spite of all the challenges, we back on we feet again. Breaking barriers, building up bridges. If we only unite as one, we could build a stronger nation. So that we sing songs of unification. Carnival is the time for bacchanal when you make all your scandal. And in your Christmas song you could call people living parent. But if you have any sense of patriotic dignity, beyond your best behavior, wrong 7.
So let me see who is on the YouTube. Edmund, good night to you. And McLean, Winnie, Adrian, Watts, good night to you and your wife. You know, I ain't gonna just say you, eh? You know, I must say a special good night to the wife. Yolan Paria, good night to you. Claude, Wendy, Deborah, Marilyn, Matthew Boyne out there in the cold. Let me see who else is there. Tyrell, good night to you. And Mavis Irva. And Kenny Buckmeyer. Let me see who else is up there, man. Vanessa Lalji, Cynthia Bartholomew, Veronica Lewis, Jackie Raymond, Sandra Pascal, good night to you, and Celia. Agnes Henry, let me see, Michelle Alexander, Listra Abraham, Gavin Thomas, Kathleen Ledlow, Janice Mitchell, Eva Pascal, Hilary Joseph, Ashma Charles, Stephanie John and the Home Circle, Public Notice, Esther Frederick, Baby Daddy, Sky is in the place, and Andrews, Carl Jones, right? Nice. Lona Lola Williams, good night to you. I'm Shajan John. Alan Jones, I got the message. Thank you, sir. And let me see who else is there. The Chunky McIntyre. Sherma Jeremiah. Jesse Sherry. Good night to you. Christine Otley. Edmund Caliste. Anne-Marie Celestine Grant. Good night. Liza Bernard. Good night to you. And McLean Mitchell. Edmund Caliste. Winnie Simon. Good night to each and every one of you. Anybody I missed, though, you will get to the next, yeah, you will get to the next one, right? Nice. Yeah, we go make sure you get to the next one.
1974 to 2024,
so people wonder what the Friday night forum, yeah. We're going to go over all the stuff that we've been discussing during this week. Give you an opportunity if you want to add something to it. So the phone lines are open from the time we start with the Friday night forum. The phone lines are open. So the phone lines are open. Feel free to call 440-7377 and 347-329-3101 for those of you out there in North America.
Sing something to make our Grenadians happy, cause we celebrating our milestone 15. So let we sing, we back on we feet again. We moving prosperous future. If we only unite as one, we could build a stronger nation. So we sing songs of unification.
So let me remind you all to continue to be safe, because remember, COVID-19 is around. There are increasing cases of COVID-19. So you've got to ensure that you keep yourselves and your family safe, yeah? We've got a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, Brother Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Good night, good night.
Yes, go
Yeah,
right
Brother
ahead.
Sheldon, I want to plead the cause on behalf of some of the workers, the road maintenance workers. Brother Sheldon, 3 weeks now, then workers and then people work, and they can't get paid. 3 weeks now, the workers can get paid. And Brother Sheldon, what makes it worse, Brother Sheldon? Some of the workers, they had the children or the grandchildren was on the seed program. They removed them. They removed them from the seed program, and the people crying out. They need the money that they work for to get it to send the children to school, send the children to school. But I shall call upon the government to do better, because we say that the youth is the future of tomorrow, please God. And when the youth is the future of tomorrow, please, of tomorrow, and then we deprive the parents and them from getting them to send them to school, that stain will be on those who deprive the youth. I call upon the government. The people crying or they want pay because they depend on that to get that money to send the children to school. Because after you took all the names of the children from the seed program, they work, 3 weeks they work and they can't, you're paying them. Pay them people, they need the money, they work for it. That's my...
I'll ask specifically, are you referring to any particular constituency, zone, anything like that, or is this an island-wide problem?
Well, I mean, the person say Northwest. What they know for Northwest?
Most of the people you're speaking of are from St. George, Northwest.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right, so they're listening, so you know they get a message.
They're listening.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks.
440-7377. You can call us directly. You can call us on the WhatsApp. Yeah, hopefully the WhatsApp working proper. I find WhatsApp and the internet generally giving some problems these days, yeah? I'm not too sure why. Not in studio, but outside of studio, I tend to think it's giving a lot of problems. We're okay in here. I can't complain inside the studio. But outside, it seems to be giving a lot of people some problems. They may be changing over. I don't know what they're doing. 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So remember saying that COVID-19 is around, and not just COVID-19. Remember, there's even what they call it, foot and mouth. Yeah, that one where the children get their little buttons on their hand, and yeah, that is around as well. Gastroenteritis is around. Dengue is around, right? And you also have swine flu is around. So you've got to be very, very careful, yeah? You've got to be very careful out there. Walk with your hand sanitizer. If you believe it is necessary to wear a mask, ensure that you do, yeah? You're protecting yourself. And if you believe that you have come down with a flu, or if you've got the symptoms, you have fever, you have the cold, you're coughing, etc., try to wear a mask because you want to protect others. Not just, it shouldn't be selfish with it. It's not just about protecting yourself, but also if you are ill, to protect others. So you should know that you have the cold and you're coughing and you're all over the place, and then you go out without a mask. Wearing a mask, well, remember, when we were wearing the mask and social distancing and all these things, you hardly had a person catching a flu anywhere in the country. Good night to you, Joyce Phillip. You hardly had anybody catching a flu anywhere. So ensure that you wear your mask. If you are ill, wear your mask to avoid spreading it. Now, yeah, we're Grenadians. We like to share, but we don't want to share them thing day. All right, nice. So if you know that you suspect that you have the flu, please try to avoid going out into the public without wearing a mask and without constantly sanitizing and so on. And several people have sent the information to me. Independence Calypso semifinals is taking place at the Lassa Jess playing field. That's in St. David. So yeah, the admission is free. Yeah. So it's January the 20th and 20 competitors. 20 competitors, you know. And Rootsman make it with this song.
Grenada is the only place that I
Well, I just got an additional message in relation to the call that we just received that in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, the same is obtaining with the people who have done that. What we basically say they do road work, they have not received their money up to now. So it is not just St. George Northwest. I don't know for any other areas, but St. George Northwest, now we have a report that in Carriacou, Petit Martinique, a similar situation exists. So if it's happening in your area as well and you know of it, let us know. Huh?
You have nothing good to say, so just shut up your toilet. If I come and say something contrary, you might run me off the stage.
V, good night to you. Good night to Martin and Miss V.
As a certain man, I would like to live a life.
Let me say a very special good night to Mr. and Mrs. McPhail out there in Calavini. Hope you all are having a wonderful night.
Now it's not the time for that. Watch it posting by a marijuana tree. Now it's not the time for that. I see them criminals and them getting.
And you know, I just heard them say something in that song there, that the Prime Minister was posing with a marijuana tree. And let me just make a point as that was mentioned before I get on to some other issues there and as we take other calls. I was reading that publication. I don't like to call it a newspaper. That publication, the New Today, last week. On their back page, they had a story about a situation that obtained in one of the secondary schools in our island. Yeah? One of the secondary schools on our island where a youngster, right, a young lady apparently, had used ganja-laced fudge. Yeah, in fact, let me pull it up to show you all. This is from last week. Yeah, I can show you all what is there. What is the matter with you? Come on, you need to do better than that, man. What's the matter? Right, and right, so what's the matter here? For some reason I'm not connecting and I don't know why. All right, yeah, so let me see if I do this again. Let me try here. Yeah, so I'm saying that last week there was that issue in the newspaper of a youngster that apparently had eaten marijuana-laced fudge. Yeah? So what is taking place now, I don't know if many of you, because I know a lot of us, we don't read that papers, right? So, but I tend to go through it to see what is the latest they're saying. And they spoke of this situation where a student was left unconscious after eating marijuana fudge. Yeah, it goes further to say that it seems to be something that's taking place in many of the secondary schools where children are bringing this marijuana-laced fudge into the school. So if you see them sit down and smoking, you know, well, they ain't supposed to be doing that. But if you see them in the school and they're eating their fudge, yeah? If you see them eating their fudge, or you see them eating their whatever they make with it, whether it's fudge or anything else that they lace it with, because I know you can put it into cookies, you can bake it into cookies and different things like that. Yeah? So the children are now using that in the secondary schools. Yeah? They're using that in the secondary schools. And it is something to be concerned about. Earlier this week, during our discussion, in relation to the issue of the gangs that are existing in Grenada. We're not saying maybe and might be existing. They are existing in Grenada. And if you were to take the time and make a cursory search of YouTube and look for some of the dancehall videos out of Grenada or / rap hip hop type videos out of Grenada, you would recognize the similarities between those videos and a lot of what we were showing on Tuesday night coming out of Trinidad, including the incitement to the gun violence sort of thing. So this is something that's taking place not according to us, you know, that is one of them. That is an avowed one of them, right? That this is taking place right now in our school system. Not a peep from the government of how they are addressing this issue. Not a word from the Ministry of Education. Not a word from the Minister of Education. Well, we know the minister is a failure, but still. Yeah? But not a word from the Ministry of Education. Nothing. This article has been out 1 week now in relation to that. Yeah? And look what they said here. She says the child accustomed buying it and she told her not to buy it again. So here's a parent that realized that their child in the secondary school, that couldn't be me, but I ignorant too much. Yeah. So ignorant in the Grenadian sense. Right? Yeah. So this parent is aware that the child, because the child ate the fudge and ended up in hospital. This week, just this week, on Monday or so, I was speaking with a parent, and that parent was relating to me how their son ended up in the mental home because he was going to a school in the St. George's area, and when he went to school, he was able to purchase marijuana in the school, not outside the school gate. Somebody was there waiting with it, There were students who were offering for sale within that school. They were offering marijuana for sale within the school. And while they were offering the marijuana within the school, apparently, there's what they call, sometimes they give you a black weed. So they put crack cocaine or something else into the marijuana because they want to hook that particular child. They may find, hey, that child, mother or father look like they have some money. I might get some money out of them, or that is a good fella to hold because he look like he does have some money and thing. Or sometimes it's just bad-minded. They just decide they want to mess up your child. So it could have been that. It could have been that under the normal circumstances, his body, his mind could not deal. He could not deal with that particular substance. And the young man, very brilliant young man, ended up in the mental home. And that's just one case of a few that I've heard in relation to this issue. I hear all the discussions in relation to marijuana and it being used for medicinal purposes, and I hear all of that. But we have to admit that there are also negative impacts to not just marijuana, to anything if you don't use it properly. If you use alcohol in the wrong way, you can have social drinking. You could you drink a beer somewhere or something. But if you drink too much alcohol, you damage your stomach, you damage your intestines, you damage your liver, you damage your kidneys, you damage yourself. Yeah? So, there are limits to everything. But there are also age limits to everything. So when our Prime Minister decides, somebody send me the picture, please. I misplaced it. The picture of the Prime Minister together with his marijuana plant. Yeah, is the ganja farmer picture. Somebody please send it to me, so we can remind people of the irresponsibility of the Prime Minister of Grenada while he seeks to popularize himself with the youthful population of our country. Yeah, somebody send a picture. No one all have it somewhere around. I expect to get it within the next 5 minutes, right? Yeah. So let me take this call and I'll get back to that. Hello? Hello, good night. Hello? Let me see if this works. Hello, good night. Hi, good night, caller. Hello? Okay, yeah, so that caller will have to call back. Right, yeah. The irresponsibility, right, of the Prime Minister in doing this sort of thing, because here's what. When a parent is speaking to a child and saying, hey, yeah, well, no, I'm saying, before I go back into that, I've just got a report from the people in St. John. They haven't gotten their money either. I'm seeing another one, St. Andrews, they haven't gotten their money. So it seems to be a general problem. St. John people have not got their money. Carriacou, Petit Martinique people have not got their money. St. Andrew people have not got their money. St. George, Northwest people have not got their money for the working on the road and so there seems to be a major problem there, right? So I'm saying, when our Prime Minister decides to lime with the weed plant, Yeah? It sends a message
Hello.
to our young people. We have a caller online. Good night. Go ahead, caller. You're
Good
live.
night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night.
Yeah, good night. This thing about the marijuana fudge,
Mm-hmm.
that is not, I don't think that is any strange thing to persons in Grenada. Sheldon, sometime last year, I personally accompanied a young man, and I say young man because he could be in his early 50s, to one of our medical facilities after he had eaten, as he said, 2 of the fudge and consumed about 3 beers.
He did what?
Look,
He eat 2.
Yeah, he ate 2 of the fudge and consumed 3 beers. That is what he told me.
I know Rasta men
And,
smoking for over 20 years wouldn't try that.
Luckily for him, when he started, as we would say, hallucinating, he was driving. So he pulled up the vehicle on the side of the road. Now, if he had continued driving, you know what would have happened?
Somebody
What
dead.
would have happened? Good. And as he said, this was the second time he tried it. The first time he had 1, and at that time he had 1 and he felt that he could take a little more, so he ate 2. And being with the friends, he consumed, I think, about 2 or 3 beers, he said. So this thing is out long. And I've been hearing about these things in schools a while now. So let us call on parents to check up their children, to speak with their children, because as parents, we have a tendency to speak to our children and not with our children. Especially in these times, parents must speak with their children as it relates to what they buy, what they consume, from who and where they go, who they line with, and so forth. Good night. Okay.
All right, thank you. And I'm saying now, when parents are doing that speaking to their children, yeah, when parents are trying their very best to have that conversation with their children, and then the leader of our country decides that this is a nice something to do. In other words, yeah, that's okay. He's emphasizing there that nothing is wrong with that. Yeah, because obviously it's the Prime Minister is traveling with security officers, so there are police officers along with him. Yeah, he is the Minister of National Security. And he is there with an illegal plant. Yeah? So he is encouraging these young people. How as a parent now, how do you speak to your child and say, hey, don't use that, marijuana is bad, and so on? How do you speak to your child? How do you emphasize to them, yeah, that if it's being used for medicinal purposes, it's one thing. But when somebody have it growing in the place already, it's not legal yet. Somebody has it growing in the place already. And you go to it and you're saying, well, okay, like this is okay, this is legal, this is good, go ahead with it, because you're looking for likes and fame. Yeah? So you go posing with it. How does the parent convince the child that to buy the fudge is something wrong? How does a parent convince a child that to make the fudge and sell the fudge is something wrong? How does a parent convince a child that, listen, if marijuana was bad and now it's good, well, cocaine, we could use cocaine too, because that bad now, just now, they go say it good. Yeah? How does a parent have that conversation? Because remember, these are the folks that when the New National Party was speaking about they're going to decriminalize marijuana. So a person, one of the guys who out there and they might have a 2 spliff and so, and the police see them. By the time you arrest these guys for 2 spliff, I don't know the cost of it now. By the time you go and you pick up 2 guys, a police officer go to them and he arrests the 2 of them for the spliff. The one guy for, let's say, 1 spliff, and he arrests the guy for that. By the time that police officer takes that guy, get a transport, bring him to the police station, I am absolutely positive that the state of Grenada has already spent at least 4 to 5 times the cost of that spliff already. In the transportation, the officer time, if you calculate the officer time down to the minute, that alone, You don't spend over 5 times the cost of a spliff. So the New National Party said, listen, this thing ain't making no sense. So the then Prime Minister said to the police officers, listen, see those guys, don't bother with them guys and them. The big shipments, the guys who bringing in the big shipment, that's another story. But you see a fella smoking a spliff or so, a fella light up somewhere, don't bother with them. Yeah? So that was the approach of the New National Party, and then it brought a bill to Parliament in relation to the decriminalization. Now, the model some countries have looked at is that some countries have decided that small amounts, so somebody you have, they put it down to ounces, I can't remember if it was, some I think it's 2 ounces or 3 ounces or whatever, but you can have X amount. If you have 0.5 over that, they can ticket you, not arrest you, not put a handcuff over it because you have a 0.5 over, so they go and they arrest you and they bring you in, but that you would receive a ticket up to a certain amount. After that, then it's an arrestable offense if you can't be having pongs and all kind of thing without a license to sell, and so you're going to end up in problems. Yeah? So there was a system being developed so that you don't clog up cells with fellas because they have a spliff in the pocket, or because you see a guy smoking a spliff somewhere, so you come and you arrest him. There was a mechanism of how they were addressing that particular issue. Now, this administration said to those people, forget NNP and decriminalization, we're going to legalize. So they had their minions. Yeah? They had their minions running around and saying to all the blocks and saying to all the guys out there, we are going to legalize ganja, we're going to legalize marijuana, cannabis, that they're going to legalize it, not decriminalize, so that people who have small amounts, I know in Trinidad you're allowed to have, I think it's 2 or 3 trees, you're allowed to have trees, and you can have up to how much ounces per person, and that sort of thing. So it's how much trees per household, I think, and how much ounces per person. I think some other Caribbean territories have a similar thing where you can have X amount and that sort of thing. Now, that is a mechanism to avoid tying up the court system. With these things, you give a man a ticket. If you say you're supposed to have 3 ounces and you have 5, you give him a ticket. You say, well, okay, you shouldn't have that amount. You give him a ticket and he go and pay ticket. If he don't pay ticket, then he fall into more problems, yeah? But you give him a ticket. Instead of you just arresting people and dragging them to the cell, you have to feed them. If they teeth hurt them, you have to call a dentist. If they say the stomach hurt them, you have to bring them by a doctor. If they have to get medication, you have to buy it. So by the time you check all the cost of that, then the cost of bringing them to court, and then the court procedure and all kind of thing, you're already over 500 times the cost of the spliff in the first instance. Yeah, so economically, it made no sense to continue with that regime. Yeah? So that is why the New National Party was speaking about decriminalization in the first instance. Now, this government who went around and speak about legalization, now they have gotten to legalization for medicinal purposes. Yeah? Now, being fair to them, they did say for medicinal purposes before the election. But that was in certain places they said for medicinal purposes. So I'm being fair to them. But their minions that they send out into the communities, that is not what they were saying. They were just saying legalization. So now they have some committee, and I think it's a family affair because you have about 2 or 3 brothers or something on the committee. Then you have the lawyer who has been the proponent in relation to marijuana for many years, and you have 1 or 2 other people on a committee. And I know what the committee doing because they keep speaking about the particular issue and coming with the ganja economy and this kind of thing, and having we not making money out of ganja. So in other words, don't plant tomatoes, the okra, the peas, all these things. No, go and plant ganja instead. So the land that you have in food right now, take it out and put it in ganja and all this sort of thing that they're speaking. And they're still not even explaining the industry because they have a lot of young guys out there that feel that if they legalize for medicinal purposes, it means that they are going to be able to just grow a whole field of it. Brother? You had to get licensed and all sort of thing. Check the other countries what been happening in the region. They had to get licensed and so on to produce a certain amount. And then it had to, all kind of process have to go in. But then there's the other end of it, that you can lose corresponding banking with the United States. So you may not be able to send or receive money from things like Western Union, MoneyGram, and so you may not be able to send and receive from them. You may not be able to have people in, because if you're sending money from Grenada, they have to make sure it is not money, because on the federal level, while in different states in the United States, marijuana may be legalized fully and so on, and they may have marijuana industries, on the federal level, in other words, on the whole country level, the federal level that covers all the states, marijuana is still an illegal substance. So states may have it legalized, but on the national level in the US, it is an illegal substance. As such, banks in the United States dealing with banks outside of the United States and other financial institutions, not just banks, so that's why I mentioned MoneyGram and Western Union and so, they also have to ensure that any money that they are receiving or that they are sending is not involved in the ganja trade. Other than that, they will be blacklisted, delisted, and charged. Yeah? So don't look at it as just, oh, they just have this thing. No, no, no. But again, it's symptomatic. It's symptomatic of the behavior of this administration. Yeah? So I'm getting a message here that the Cannabis Commission has been disbanded. A new commission may be in place. Well, nobody knows. So, well, let's see. Because we're not hearing any movement on that particular issue. Meanwhile, we have our children in schools ending up with that problem. You have young men and young ladies out there who are consuming these items and ending up in the psychiatric ward. They keep having young people ending up on the psychiatric ward because of this. Yeah? Some of them are medicated. When I say medicated, after they come off the ward, they have to stay on medication so that they could be in reality, because they get bipolar and all sorts of things. It heighten it. So that some of these young people come out from the hospital and have to be on medication on a daily basis. So there's a lot happening in relation to that. So when somebody decides, like if it's just a simple issue, and you're the prime minister of a country, and you decide that you're going and pose. You decide that you're going and pose. What has been done to address what's taking place in the school? In the school system. Yeah, what has been done in relation to what is taking place? And if they don't know, it just shows their unsuitability for the positions that they are in if they do not know that these things are taking place. Because if the prime minister knows that these things are taking place and yet still he's doing that, he's encouraging that sort of behavior. Yeah? So it just continues to show the unsuitability of these individuals if they don't know these things are taking place in the schools. And I keep saying, parents, talk to your children. I just try to talk to mine. It doesn't always get through, but I just try to talk to mine. Talk to your children. Okay, there's a lot of things taking place in those schools. You're hearing about the Cayman-6 and this thing out of Trinidad and so on, and you don't realize that it is already in all of the secondary schools here in Grenada. Nobody don't try to tell me it's not in this school, and it is in all of the secondary schools. In fact, this week, same newspaper again, the front page is in relation to an issue with one of the schools. Yeah? Where this gang thing come up in the school, and who's saying there's this and who's saying there's that and that sort of thing. Yeah. So this week in a school, that's the kind of thing that came up, because it is a particular type of culture that's being established, and I'm telling you, I've seen this movie already. I saw this movie already. I know all the dramatic parts. I know all the romantic parts. And I know what the end credits look like. What you see taking place in Trinidad right now That's what the end credits look like. And if this issue is not addressed and addressed systematically, yeah, with serious engagement and not just by law enforcement, is not break down door and run in place and beat up people and things. It's not that approach, yeah. But there has to be a systematic, properly thought out approach of how to deal with this issue. Well, look at that. Yeah, there has to be a systematic approach of how to deal with this issue. So, folks, if you have children, you have nieces, you have nephews, you have grandchildren, yeah, you have neighbors, children who are in the secondary school system, I'm going to continue to say it, speak to them. Some of them that you think are not the ones involved in it are very involved. As parents, it is important to search the bag before they leave. And you don't have to search it as soon as when they reach home. No, search it when they reach home, search it when they're leaving. Sometimes let them reach out in the yard first. Don't search it when they leave. The field is smart, you know. Some of them hiding where they have to hide in the yard. Or they're hiding it around the house. So when they go outside, they go in and pick up what they have to pick up and put it in the bag. Yeah? So you have to search the bag. You'll be surprised what you find in some of them bag. You'll be surprised what you find in some of them bag. And some people may ask, but where these children getting these things from? That's what the police to find out. I ain't going and sitting on there for nobody to come and say they're coming to question me. No. But all I will say to the members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, in the same way that you find time to monitor members of the opposition, there are certain elements within the town that you should be monitoring. Go look and see where some of these school children go on an early morning. You know that the school is nowhere near there, but look where they go on an early morning and look on an evening time where you see some school children going. Yeah, I'll say that to them. Don't bother with if Dr. Mitchell is in Grenville and he's speaking with person A or person B. Don't bother with that. Yeah, go and save the children. That's what you are supposed to do. Yeah, and folks, this morning, I heard that the members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, they did conduct a raid within the town. Yeah, they conducted a raid within the town of St. George this morning. Yeah, so, well, they're trying a thing. But again, it has to be systematic. It has to be information and intelligence driven. Yeah? And there must be a path of what to do when you engage with the general public. It can't be just break down door and such place. You ain't going to get nothing. I think they're stupid to put it inside the place. You ain't getting nothing. Yeah? But them ain't going to know that because, again, there's a lot of people who just interested in window dressing and not actually doing the work that is necessary to help develop our country. But again, if they do not get a handle on that issue and get a handle on it now, woe be unto all of us. There are, as it goes right now, no-go areas in Grenada. Any of us could go in any part of Grenada. There are no-go areas that you can't go there. As you know, some parts of other Caribbean territories, they have zones that you can't go there. In Grenada, we do have them kind of thing. There's no part of Grenada that I could say that I can't go. I could stop and I could go in any area. Yeah? In the same context, if we do not immediately arrest some of these issues that are coming up now, you're going to end up with no-go areas. Yeah? Because if you don't understand what the 6 and the 7 is, okay. Back in the days, and when I say back in the days, I'm not even talking about a decade ago, just a few years ago in Trinidad, you had a serious battle taking place. And when I say battle, I mean gunshot left, right, and center, who killing who from which crew and all that kind of thing, taking place between a group calling themselves Rasta City and another group calling themselves Unruly ISIS. Although they for themselves used to say nothing they name Unruly ISIS and that kind of thing. So you had these two groups that were battling it out and that kind of thing. Right? if I remember correctly, out of the same Rasta city, there was a splinter, and some fellas came out and they started calling themselves the Six. Yeah? So it's the number 6, IXX. That's how they spell it. So it's the number 6, IXX. So if you see that on your child's school books or anywhere you see it written in their room or anything, it's time to have a talk with them. Yeah? So they had people like, they had a guy by the name of RebelSix, right? He was one of the key people in that. Yeah, he was one of the key people involved in that. That's RebelSix. I wonder if I have something with RebelSix here. I may have something with RebelSix. Yeah. So they had a guy named RebelSix. That's him here, right? He was one of the key people singing a lot of the songs you're hearing here, playing. Your children might be playing it in their room and off their phone and different things into their ears. RebelSix was one of the guys that was doing that particular music, right? So you had RebelSix. You had another one by the name of Kratos, right? So you had RebelSix, you had Kratos, and let me see, where's RebelSix? Yeah, let me see if I could find RebelSix. Right, yeah, and in case people don't know, this is where RebelSix ended up. Yeah, this is where the RebelSix ended up. In case you don't realize, there's a hearse. Yes, so that is where RebelSix ended up. Right? They had another one. Another young man, young fella. Yeah, young fellas, you know. These are young fellas. Right? So they had this other one here. This other one is Wako Dan. Out of the same music that the children listening in Trinidad, and they bring in artists in this crew to come and sing and so on. This is Wako Dan. He was another one of the artists, and so in that grouping, right? Yeah, that's Wako Dan, and of course, Wako Dan. Yeah, that's where he end up. Yeah, speak to your children. You see where RebelSix end up? You see where Wako Dan end up? And that's just 2 out of many. 2 out of many. Yet within the secondary schools, they're talking about 6, who is 6 and who is 7 and who's this nonsense and all kind of thing. Creating divisions. And you know what happens when divisions are created? Because people start to war with each other if they cannot interact properly with each other. In classrooms, it's not just in the schools. Like, don't think it's one secondary school against another secondary school. No, you know. Within classrooms, I know of circumstances where within one class, part of the class is 6, part of the class is 7. And they throw in talk for each other in the class. In the class, you know, not just in the school. As I said, this school is a 6 and that school is a 7. Within the class, you have some with 6 and some with 7. Separation within the class itself. Speak to your children. Yeah? And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because I want you to understand the reality of what is existing out there with your children, with our children, not just yours. I have two. This is the reality of what is existing out there for our children. And if we allow it to germinate, if we allow that to continue to rise its ugly head here in Grenada, we're going to have a lot of problems in the future. A lot, in the near future, not far, the near future. Not just when a businessman going to the deposit to grab the bag and run. The businessman wouldn't make it. It's going to get more serious than that. Because they believe in not leaving back witnesses. Yeah? Listen to music, listen to messages that these young people are getting. And you'll understand the danger that we as Grenada face. Lo and behold, I personally still believe Grenada is one of the safest places on earth. But I want it to stay so, which is why we have to speak about the issue and start to address the issue now. Yeah? Remember you had Ginger Crew and all these things back in the days? Those were addressed. You came up with those who were calling themselves Bloods and Bloods and Crips and so on. that was dealt with. But right now, I wonder if we really have a ministry of youth that has the leadership to be able to deal with a thing like that. I could remember something, Years ago, there was a situation between some young men on the Carriacou and some young men down in Grenada, Coffee Bow Hill and those areas there. The guys from that area could not come uptown. If they come uptown, it was always some kind of fight and who getting stabbed and who getting chopped and that kind of thing. Yeah? That could not be allowed to continue. Nice? So you had that situation. You had that situation that was taking place. The young men that were in town could not go Grenans, and those in Grenans could not come in town. So there's a serious problem there. A very serious problem there. You know what happened? The Honorable Emlyn Pierre, then she was Senator Emlyn Pierre, in charge of the Ministry of Youth. I remember her going to speak to the young men on the Carriacou. And I particularly remember that it was myself, herself, her driver, and one youth officer. I think that was Jenna Charles, yeah. One youth officer. Herself, myself, that youth officer, and the driver, and we went over there to meet with the guys on the Carriacou. And you know what was interesting about that? She was somewhere around 7-8 months pregnant at the point in time. Huge. If you know Miss Pierre, when she's pregnant, you know she's huge. And she went there. And the guys put a chair out for her to sit down. They say, well, she come to speak to them. And if she could leave and come in this state with the big belly to come and speak to them, they have to sit down and listen to what she had to say. But she didn't just go and speak. She went and listened to them and what they had to say and what they were going through and so on. In fact, the fellas, when they put the chair, they double the chair was a plastic chair. They said, no. We ain't taking the chance and put her on one chair. They double the chair and they put there for her. So she was able to interact with them. Then she was also able to call a meeting with those in Grand Dance and so on. And we send the ministry transport down and bring all those who are the key ones in it, bring them together and bring them up and have a conversation with them. And then start having discussions with the two sides and that sort of thing. And that is how you were able to end that nonsense that was taking place. Some of the fellas is partners all now. The same fellas who couldn't pass down tongue and who couldn't come up and so on because this one go chop that one and that one go chop the other and that kind of thing. All of those fellas are good friends up to this day. It have no animosity between them again. And you know what you're asking them? Well, what started this thing? What really caused this thing to start up? And you know those fellas and them couldn't even remember what started up, you know. They couldn't even remember where this thing started, but it had gotten so far that fellas was getting stabbed and fellas was getting chopped and all kind of things was taking place. So you have to have a strategy and a plan of how you're going to deal with that. So Honorable Emlyn Pierre went there, she sit down, she meet with them. She listen. It's not just going and talk. You ain't know. You have to go and listen to what they have to say. And don't think because they're lining on the blocks is some fool that day. Some of these guys have more subjects than all you. Yeah? Some of these guys are 8, 9, and 10 subjects. We have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir. How are you?
How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
Not bad myself.
All right. Go right ahead.
Yeah, just a few things. First of all, I heard you commenting there on marijuana, and I there's something which I will have to, a bit more to say in subsequent times. But, you know, you what you said was absolutely correct in that marijuana, we glorify it and whatnot, and for some people it might bring some degree of relaxation. But marijuana is a potentially dangerous drug. Don't let it, I advise all folks. I learned that from my student days in Jamaica, way back many years ago. and there's nothing that I've seen to the contrary to say to the contrary. And you are quite correct. I think how the past administration was handling it was appropriate in that, for small bits of marijuana on the street, they weren't worrying about it. But if you were dealing with bigger amounts, it would be a different matter. What is particularly worrisome, and the present Minister of Mental Affairs, Honorable Thomas, she made reference to the number of young people. I heard a part of an interview she gave this week, and she made reference to the number of young people in the psychiatric hospital, and indeed, in fact, but she didn't go as far as to say why they were there. But from my research, in terms of discussion with colleagues, etc., and the people in the health profession, a significant percentage of the young people in the psychiatric hospital are there. They have been, the illness is associated, let me put it that way, associated with marijuana usage. And what can happen often, it's a funny drug because some people can take it and not much may happen. But for a number of people, some people, even small amounts. I've seen young people who, are very stable, productive, and then they just start to take a smaller bit of marijuana, and it sends them, as they say in popular parlance, off the rockers.
Yeah, because then, everybody is different. Because I know years ago I never knew that people eating nuts and could nearly die from nuts and so on. But these days it have people that you can't bring nuts around them. They get violently ill. So not everybody is the same. So the way that it operates with some people, it doesn't with everybody.
I mean, the whole debate, I wouldn't want to go into the whole discussion because this is something about which the Caribbean, the Carriacou asked this commission to report, and they did something time back in 2018, and there'd be much discussion about it. But suffice it to say, it is a potentially dangerous drug, and I hope that this is one of the points we want to make. I hope that any legislative changes that are brought before Parliament, they're not brought, as we have seen some legislative parts brought, and that there's widespread and deep discussion about it before you suddenly hear that this legislation is about to be tabled in Parliament. And because if government goes that route, they will be doing a disservice to the whole wider community, and they're going to find themselves with a much bigger health bill than they even imagine that could be possible. So I just wanted to say that on that point. The situation with regards to COVID is what I primarily call about, and I have one other point to make.
And folks, let me let folks know that you are a qualified medical doctor. So,
yes, I am.
So it's not anybody calling here.
I've been that for some time now.
Yeah.
COVID is, first of all, I was disappointed that government did, back last week, they made this press release which led you to feel that there wasn't much of a problem. Well, then this week now they came and you hear a different situation. And well, of course, the talk is around the tongue as to what is actually may or may not be happening. But there are a few things, take-home messages about what is happening with COVID that I would like to expand on. First of all, I feel that and I've tried to lobby for the presence of the updated vaccine. I know vaccine is a word that is a bad word to some people, but that vaccine, it's not as effective as the vaccines for measles and diseases like that, but it is still very helpful, especially helpful to people who have underlying problems, and especially helpful to the elderly. If I told you that I travel abroad, and one of the primary reasons I went abroad, this was a couple of months ago, was to be able to get access to the updated Pfizer vaccine for COVID. And now that will not stop me from getting COVID because it is a very infectious problem and it still infects people. But hopefully, if I get it, my body will be in a much better position to be able to manage it. And that brings me on to this point. COVID, this strain of COVID is causing, and from my readings and from my own anecdotal experience, it is causing some complications that you weren't seeing before. I know one person who it was affecting the major organs before it was killing. Now, it is not causing deaths as it was before, but it is still making people awfully sick. And it is invading organs that you would least expect it to be invaded. I know of a person, and I do not see patients who usually present with upper respiratory tract infection. I see patients with gastrointestinal problems. I see patients mainly with problems with the stomach, the colon, liver, etc. And so I say that to say that if I were doing a general practice, I am sure I would see a lot more people. But I know in recent days of one person who had salivary gland, who was fully vaccinated, albeit I would say that, and perhaps it is why they didn't suffer any longer, but they had marked salivary gland inflammation. Another person who probably has eye involvement. Another person who has had lung involvement. Now, lung involvement was common before, but this lung involvement did not go to cause a sudden demise as was happening before, or quick demise within a matter of days, but it was impairing the lung function. So and then there's the whole string of neurological problems continue. So COVID remains a major health concern, especially in a setting where we have lots of people with chronic diseases. We have lots of people who have diabetes, lots of people who with hypertension probably is less of a risk factor, but with asthma, people who are overweight, significantly overweight, all of these are people who are going to be at specific risk, people who are on cancer therapy. I've heard you mention the list before. So people need to be careful. So what government needs to be doing much more is encouraging, and I am encouraged that I've seen one or two people putting on masks, moving around in the St. George's area today, but far more need to be putting it on and to be aware where you're likely to pick it up. I'm walking the street now. I have not been putting on a mask, but if I go into an enclosed area, an air-conditioned area, especially an area in which there are many people traversing that area, like in supermarkets, like in pharmacies, especially pharmacies, because people going into pharmacies when they're ill. And the virus, they're breathing, they might not be even coughing, but they're breathing out the viral particles. You're not going to see anything. You go into that same environment without a mask, and you would wonder, but they got this thing. Well, I wouldn't know wrong anybody who was sick, right? So in high-risk environments, they need to be putting on masks and not just wearing the mask, as I often used to see when we had the major pandemic, parts of the pandemic, just over the mouth and whatnot. It's got to be fully covering your nostril and your mouth and firmly affixed. And there are a number of comfortable fitting masks that you can talk freely in and wear. So the combination of mask use to bring back in place on a voluntary basis, you're just advising people. So I'm not suggesting that people be mandated to do it, but there needs to be a greater reinforcement of the necessity to wear a mask, especially if you're in public mass area. Churches are often filled with folk, and at this time, lots of the people who go to church, I am sure other than for the child services, most of them are older and elderly people. They should be all back in mass. So you can go and you have your service, and I'm just giving you my views on it. But whatever stance the government takes, they need to do a lot more to bring that information out to patients. Another aspect of COVID, I've been making some inquiries to get the antiviral drug Paxlovid. Paxlovid is a drug made by Pfizer. Now, that is not a drug that you should take. You shouldn't get it without a prescription. And your practitioner would be look at the medications that you're presently on to make sure that there are no interactions with those. So it's a drug that you have to be careful with. But I think my own reading tells me that if you are in a risk group, you should be using Paxlovid because you quickly go and you decrease your viral load and you decrease the chances of the virus going on to cause major inflammation and damage in some. And I told you, I'm starting to see it all about the body affecting different places and different people. And the risk of that will probably reduce. But from what I can gather, right now, the access to Paxlovid on the island is virtually, it's very difficult. I'm not saying the odd pharmacy doesn't have it, but a number of the bigger pharmacies don't have it, and that's not good. They should have stocks of these things in there, and hopefully practitioners will be writing the prescription and to take the drug from early. It's an antiviral drug. It has, like anything else, it will have a side effect or two in people, but the risk of that side effect, I think, are much less than the risk of not taking the antiviral. And I'm talking more specifically in the elderly age groups and in the people at risk. I'm not talking about I would not rush to put a young person necessarily on Paxlovid unless they were starting to show one of these complications of the COVID. That is complications beyond the normal chest infections that you will get in the upper respiratory and the nasal problems, etc. that you might get. And if they were showing one of those, I advise them to pay it. But certainly in the old, elderly, and in those at high risk, that Paxlovid should be available. So we need to get on island pronto and to keep stocks of this antiviral drug on the island. And we need to get the latest vaccine. And again, not to be no compulsion about going to take the vaccine, but you make the vaccine accessible. You let people know you can come and get the vaccine, even if you have to fix a little cost to it, because I know these vaccines can be costly. And if the island can be bringing in, if Pfizer won't sell it because of the small amounts that we might bring in, you bulk purchase these things and you have them there ready and available for people to use. This is nothing difficult. This is no rocket science to be able to do that. That we have a regional organization there that deals with pool purchases. And I'm sure they would get into getting it if regional governments say we want it. I'm not sure if the vaccine that I'm talking about, the updated version, the latest version, the one that came out around autumn of last year, is available in other islands, but from what I gather, it's not available here. So those are some points I want to make about COVID.
Indeed, and we want to thank you for that, Doc. And the takeaway I get here especially is that if you have you yourself or family members, etc., that are in one of those high-risk categories, those are the main people. Not that if you want, you shouldn't go and take a vaccine, but those who are at higher risk, it is very important for them to update their vaccination.
Yes, because the vaccination in elderly people does not last that long. The coverage does not last that long. But another thing is that within 2 weeks or so, we are going to be having thousands of people coming in here. And so undoubtedly, the viral presence will be greater, because some of them are going to be bringing it in from North America.
I was speaking to a friend of mine in the New York area, and one of their grandchildren has it. Yeah? And you're hearing of other people that have been coming down with it. In the US, you're not hearing the number of deaths and this kind of thing, but you're hearing that quite a few people have been coming down with COVID.
Yeah. There's one other point I want to make, Sheldon, off of health issues now.
Yeah.
I saw something that is really disturbing to me. I happened to be on YouTube and saw a clip from Mrs. Jenny Simon, and I about her daughter and what has happened with her daughter, and I am really saddened by it, because I remember years ago, this must go back some 5 to 10 years ago or so, I saw that a young lady in a performance, her daughter Emily, and I said to myself, this girl could hit the international market if she were lucky. And I even saw her in a shop somewhere some weeks after, and went up to her, introduced myself, and said, "Listen, I thought that was a wonderful show. A performance you gave. Keep it up. Continue." And now to think that someone of that caliber and that quality cannot be brought into when there's a national, your 50th national anniversary, can't find a place for that person. I am really sorry. We have to sit back and think about what we are doing in society.
And not only that, Doc, they
agony,
engaged.
I heard the agony in the mother's voice when she was speaking about it.
And she's correct.
Okay, yes, she's the mother. But the whole society should be quite upset that a person with that type of talent, seemingly, I have to say seemingly because I don't know all the scenes, but based on what was said, seemingly has been debarred and disenfranchised from when you're talking about you're talking the use of the media for in terms of performance of young people, right? And now when you have your biggest national event, the country has had for years, and someone like that, you can't get a chance to be showcased. No, something is wrong, and we need to rethink that. And those who are involved in making those decisions need to stop and take stock of what they're doing, because they're causing. Listen, this society is a peaceful society. This is one of the most peaceful societies in the Caribbean, perhaps therefore in the world. And we need to keep it like that. And when you do things that, well, she hopefully would not, she's from a family that would not, she may not find herself, she will feel it. But another child, you never know what they may turn to do. And because somebody speaks something against you, and if the mother is speaking, and the mother speaks things, and you feel she's in opposition to you, that is healthy for democracy. Do we understand what democracy really means?
My brother,
Democracy
just remember,
people like that can get up and show you your weaknesses, and then you're supposed to learn from your weaknesses.
Just remember though, this is not the only incident. That young lady was helping with the Carnival Queen Show for 2023, along with her mother, and along with some others, were assisting getting the queens ready. Because remember, early up last year, there was this big splash about the Queen Show and everything, and everybody was getting so excited coming down to the Queen Show because of the quality of what was being done. And you had the activity that took place where they went and they modeled and all these things before. Not just that you have Queen Show and on the night of Queen Show you see the queens, but that there were several activities leading up to that. And that young lady played a significant role along with her mother and others, I'm sure Wells and others, played a significant role in that roll-up, build-up to National Queen Show. Yeah? And then they were unceremoniously, yeah? They had to distance themselves. In fact, some instances they were removed. You had all kind of things saying about who doing program and talking against them, and then in Queen Show, all sorts of nonsense took place, and then they were out of the Queen Show. Yeah, so this is not the first instance of them treating that young lady like that. A country that she loves. She loves this country. If you speak to the young lady, you hear her mother speak about her and her interactions and things that you have seen her done, even at the young age that she is. You know it's somebody that loves Grenada. So why treat her like that? You're trying to tell her go somewhere else then.
Yes, the mommy spoke to that. The mommy spoke to that.
Yeah.
Right?
And she's right.
And just to believe this is a final thought with you, Sheldon. I remember when I first came to Grenada, goes way back in the days when Gary was playing cricket and whatnot. You would go, I remember going up in the north and cities and being invited, and you would have teams, the GNP and the GLP would have two cricketing teams up there, and you would have, in those days, was people like Vincent White, with Gary, etc. And the match would go on, and after the match, there would be pure become between the GLP and the GMP fellas. But before the evening finished, everybody the fellas would have taken a few drinks, and you go home, and you won't believe that these are two sides that have been arguing against each other. Huh? And that is something that is stuck in my mind for years. And that's how politics should be. Yes, have your cut and thrust of it, but after the cut and thrust of your politics, you want people.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you so very much,
Okay.
Doc. All right. You have a wonderful one. 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get on the inside. And I do suggest that you take the advice of Doc. If you have a family member who is in one of those high risk category areas, if they're overweight, they have respiratory problems, like they're asthmatic, they have bronchial problems, other problems like that, ensure that they can get vaccinated. Yeah, they can get the additional vaccine. I know not everybody is pro-vaccine. Yeah, but it's a choice. You have the choice to take it. You have the choice not to take it. It's up to you. All right. If you believe that you need to, it should be made available. It shouldn't be a situation where you want it and it is not available, especially considering that you're going to have this influx of people, because we know that the government flying in a lot of people. So at least make the vaccines available before that now. Yeah. We have a caller online. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Okay, that caller. Callers, just remember when you call, because it may be the first time that you're calling a program, to pay attention to the phone that you've called on in your hands. Pay attention to that and not the computer, because right now I'm looking at the computer, and what I'm seeing showing on even the computer I have inside here is what I said probably about 2 minutes ago. Yeah, is what's showing there. So there's a lapse, a time lapse, according to when you join the program and when you've joined, and so there will be a time lapse. When I asked for the pictures, I started getting the pictures nearly 5-10 minutes after, because some people may have started watching at a particular time, so there's a time lapse. So when you call, just speak with us on the phone line. All right, let's try the phone lines again. Hello, good night.
Hey, Sheldon, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, I'm quite fine. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I love your program.
All right, great. Thank you. And I hope you're staying safe up there.
Yes. And you know what? You're creating awareness and talking points. And I hope it's going to be a coaching opportunity for those government ministers, because I'm listening to you tonight. I listened to you night before. And it's very, very informative. I hope the government ministers are listening, because it is a coaching opportunity.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother.
So keep up the good works, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
And all the best.
All right. Thanks. Yes, indeed. 4407377 and 34732. And we have a caller online. Hello, good night.
Hi, Sheldon, good night.
Hi, good night, my dear.
How are you today?
Quite fine. That voice sounding kind of familiar.
Okay. I'm calling because I heard you speaking concerning the thing with the marijuana with the young people.
Yes, yes.
Sheldon, I'm speaking from experience. I heard a lady call and she said, speak to your children, speak with your children. My son had a situation in the school concerning the same marijuana thing. No, Sheldon, it's not your enemies that does you wrong. Because your enemies does not be close to you. It's your friends. I want to appeal to the young people. Be careful of those who are your friends. Your friends laugh and they grin with you and they're jealous of you. They're against you. They are in the gutters and they want you to be in the gutters with them. And their friends is the one who giving them the marijuana, who giving them the black weed. Friends. Parents has been speaking to their children. I spoke to my son when he was since young growing up, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. When we walk in the street, I'm showing him the vagrants. I'm showing him those on the block. I'm saying, I do not want you to be in that. I say, do you think this is looking good? How do you're looking at the vagrant digging the garbage man? Mommy, I don't want to be that way. Right? You're speaking to them. I have situations where I would search that child bag before he leaves to school. When he comes back, I search it back. I speak and I speak and I speak. And he ended up not listening, following friends. You hear, Sheldon? There are us parents who speak to our children every day. And the children have the mind of their own. You beat them, you punish them, you do all sorts of things, you do the best that you can. And Sheldon, they don't listen. When they spoke about legalizing marijuana, Sheldon, I nearly cried. You know why I nearly cry? Sheldon, because these people do not understand. These people do not understand how this thing could be damaging to people. You hear, Sheldon? I pray God that they do not do this thing. Because those children who have not met up with this mishap may just meet up with this thing and we will have a lot of young vagrants on the street. Sheldon, there are people who has medical issues from maybe their grandparents, far family who they never know about, who has situations medically that the present family does not know. And by just doing that, it triggers them off. You hear, Sheldon? Because they do not know what maybe was long time their grandparents, what medical issue their grandparents had, and it came down the line. And they never knew about it until they put that marijuana in their mouth or whatever in their mouth, and it triggers them. Sheldon, I'm appealing to the ministers of government or whoever listening. Do not legalize this thing. Not everybody can take this thing. And it would not be a nice thing, Sheldon. This mental place up there, you hear, Sheldon? It's a terrible, terrible place. I am speaking not from hearsay. I'm speaking from experience. Sheldon, this place up there, they need to remove the psychiatric ward from that mental place because it's a stigma. I am appealing to the Ministry of Health, remove that psychiatric ward from that mental place. It's a stigma. It's a stigma. Bring back the Carlton home. Find some kind of program to help these young people. Help, Sheldon. The government talk about helping young people. They're only talking about helping young people who could maybe help them maybe they could get something from. What about those who have misfortunes, who was born with medical issues? Sheldon, the government has nothing in place for the drug addicts and the alcoholics. And you want to legalize this thing? Sheldon, those persons in my hearing, I am speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience. Sheldon, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you so very much, caller. And I pray that everything goes as well as possible with you and your family. Thank you so very much for your contribution tonight.
Okay, then. Good night.
So, folks, you've heard it there. You've heard it from a parent. And I actually thought it was Miss Pierre that was calling you. That voice sounded a bit like Miss Emlyn Pierre. But you've actually heard now from a parent of a child who has gone down that particular road. They get the black weed. Who know if it's the black weed? Who know if it's that their psychological makeup just could not deal with the effects of the marijuana. Ended up in psychiatric ward. Yeah? So you've heard it directly from a parent, and you could hear how broken-hearted that parent is. How many more parents we want like that in our country? How many more? They're speaking about we're going to legalize, and you're going to legalize, and you're going to legalize, and Prime Minister posing with weed. How you expect us to speak to our children? It's an idiotic move. Yeah? We have a caller coming in via the WhatsApp. It is an idiotic move. Yeah? Because it lends legitimacy to something that we're trying to tell our children, hey, don't do. We have a caller online.
Hey, good night, Sheldon. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, I'm good. A bit sad from the last caller, but I'm good. I'm there. I'm holding straight.
This thing is really feeling me, man. I mean, you know, it kind of reminded me of campaign meeting we had in St. David's, right? When the night, Sheldon, when they passed, the NDC team came to that particular area and did the announcement of the legalization of the weed. You know, that night, it saddens us because we were in the area there. And you can hear the young person say, me, I don't vote for NNP again. And those kids, those young people, they were planning to vote for NNP because we've been selling the program and these other parties, right? And what is expected of the new government, which is NNP, coming back in office. And you know that night, brother, they had a meeting. They had some meeting somewhere. You know those guys passed and they gave these young people the yellow T-shirts. And, you know, they ran and they start cussing NNP because, you know, that evening, brother, it was like a demon, a political demon pass in the where the young people started mentioning the good thing that Oliver Joseph did.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up badly.
Oh, okay. You hearing me? You're hearing me better now?
I'm hearing you now. That you're saying, if I'm hearing you, I'm hearing you now. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful.
Stay close to the wireless.
But yes, you know, but I am baffled. I'm still, you know, trying to catch myself because I've been there too, you know. I was seeing nutmegs like breadfruit once, you know. You know, in my early youth life, and I know what the use of and the abuse of marijuana is like, you know. And hearing persons who supposed to know better intelligently, so, you know, campaigning and you know.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Boy. Yes, campaigning and parading for the legalization of weed. You know, but let me just shift from that for a moment. let me ask you a question, Brother Sheldon. Is there a new voters list, registration list out at this time? And you have an idea as to how many new registration that took place?
I was sent something a little earlier. I need to go over some of the figures myself, but I did receive something a little earlier in relation to the new voters. It is January, so I think you would expect that something had to come out about now. Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, so there's an article that is out. Where is it? I saw it earlier today. Yes. So since the June 2022 general elections, a total of 2,306 new people have been registered as voters, yeah? So as of the last day of 2023, the voters list now stands at 89,872 voters registered in the 15 constituency, right? So that's an increase of 2,306 from the 87,566 that are registered to vote at the last general election. Yeah, amazing. And remember, the margin of victory of the NDC at the last general election was around what? 2,000 something. And I am pretty sure. Yeah, I am pretty sure that my good friends within my organization, how much of it can they tell me that they are responsible for out of that 2,306?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah? We need to get the work done. This is the time for talk. Yes, you will have to talk. There's talking points you'll have to talk. But you have to get the job done. Get people registered. Because
I'm happy that the result came out. Yeah, I'm happy that that last number came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and give us some, put some wheels to our feet, to get the work. Because listen, this is alarming. That's alarming.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you this though. Let me tell you this. I am very interested in seeing. Listen to me on the phone, please. I'm very interested. I'm very interested in hearing what the voters list looks like after all those flights come in for the independence, because you have heard activists and members of the National Democratic Congress going to the United States and saying to people up there, when you come down, register. You come for Christmas, register. You're coming for the independence, the flight's going to be coming, come down and register. They are on video saying that to the people up there. Yeah? So I'm interested in seeing what the list look like after. So if NNPites want to sit down there and think that it is Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, former Prime Minister, that's going to be calling the election date, they'll learn the hard way. It is the NDC to call the election, so you as NNP have to make sure that you are ready. Yeah? You have to make sure, oh boy, and the call disconnected again. It's reconnecting. Let's see if it comes back. Yeah, you as NNP supporters have to make sure that you're ready. And even if you don't support any political party, but you have to be part of the process of ensuring the safety of Grenada. Are we going to continue to trust a prime minister that thinks it's okay to promote the use of ganja? Yeah, when you have children going to school, eating ganja, fudge and so on, and falling ill, when you have the situation as well. Let me see if I can get back the caller there, because the call dropped off. I think they're having the same problem that I'm having when I'm out on the streets now. We're having some problems with Go right ahead, caller. Yeah,
so but the other thing, Brother Sheldon, in closing, I get off because I have a challenge with my
I realize, but you go ahead.
Another thing that is kind of disheartened, right? I've been looking at the crowds outside there on a weekend, working, they say voluntarily for the 50th anniversary of the independence.
Mm-hmm.
And the persons who are working, the majority of who I'm seeing are retirees, right? Teachers, civil servants, public servants who have retired from the jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we have $15 million, right? It's not knowledge, it is, right? That they had $15 million for the independent service. Well, we understanding where some of the money are going, okay? But what if, these people have no heart to say, okay, it's more than just eating a food, but it's to take care of persons' families and etc. Why can't they, put out some special teams, right? The previous independent committees did it in the past. I remember how much persons in the committees got money, to beautify, like painting and cleaning and so on.
But
and
boss,
we didn't take.
Who tell you that ain't taking place? The money just ain't reaching certain people, but who tell you that may not be taking place? Remember.
But where is the transparency?
Transparency, yeah, wait for that. Remember, if folks can remember, when they announced this 7 million, remember I said what is going to take place with that money? They're going to come into the communities, they're going to tell some guys, we're giving you the contract to paint here today. You get some guys to work along with you. And if it's $4,000, if it's $5,000, they're giving that guy to get that project done. They give him that money. They have the bagmen that going to pass and going to give him that money. Now that guy may decide he keeping 3,500 and he just say, hey, they give us a 500 here and he share out a 50 to each of the guys that doing the project or so, and he keep the majority for himself. That 15 million, well, if it's 15, because remember he had 7.5, then he was here in 15, so I don't know if it's 7.5 and 15 or if it's 7.5 and 7.5. I have to double check the budget document to make sure. But at the end of the day, do not be surprised that money is being sent to the community but not reaching the ground in the community. Understand
That's
some
true.
of the people that they're dealing with. Now, you're saying you have $15 million for the independence. Look around. Are we seeing $15 million worth of independence atmosphere around us?
No.
This is now.
Never.
Today's the 19th. Today's the
Right.
19th. We're on the cusp of the independence celebrations. We're coming down. Right now, everybody's supposed to be in the mood and you're hearing the music and everything going on. But they are knee-jerking, which is why they had to run in the schools on Monday to try and shout pin, disrespecting the opposition, because now they're knee-jerking. Everything is a knee-jerk reaction. They right now, it seems as though they're scared that a lot of what they're going to do is going to be a failure.
Yeah. But I'm gonna let me make that statement and hang up, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I am okay. Now first I want these people to understand we are not afraid of them. Right? We have a voice, legally so. We are not afraid of your huts, what you're gonna harm us or whatever. We're not afraid of that. But I particularly not afraid of that. But the thing about it is that there are some persons who are really, really hurting in this country. Really, really badly hurting. And I want to send a message to our leaders, those leaders that we have, the 9 of them, right? Well, 10 of them in the parliament of this country, that they ought to be serving the people of Grenada, not NDC supporters only, right? I mean, yes, the country is made up of NDC, NNP, and whatever PR there is, right? And they must be honest with themselves, because we have an almighty God who is not asleep. He's taking record, he's taking count of their behavior, and whatever despite they are doing to our people, right? It would rebound on them, and they would think people has passed hand on them. Do right. Do what you're called to do. Serve the nation gladly. My brother, thank you.
All right. Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
night.
Yes, 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number you can use to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Yeah. So, I mean, look at, well, you seen $15 million worth of independence around all you? Yeah? Don't worry, it has some people on the committee making real money. Check the bank account when this independence thing is finished. Check the bank account. You go realize where the 15 million went. Yeah? Find out who some of the companies are registered to that doing different things for the independence. Yeah? Find out who some of the companies are registered to, or find out who has subcontracted some of the companies that doing the independence thing. There's a reason. Many people hearing you have 15 million towards independence, that they are unwilling to come out and give their free labor to assist in certain things. There's a reason many people are not willing to do it. Yeah? Because they know what is taking place in the background with some of those companies that getting some of these fat contracts out of that $15 million. And they know the connection between some of these people and some of the people on the committee, some of the people in the cabinet of Grenada. They know the connection between these companies and these people. Grenada is a small place. Yeah? It is a small place. So they know the connections. That is why a lot of people are not willing to participate in certain things. So now you see the Independence Committee scrambling, rushing to try and get this done and try and get that done. And they realize the feedback hasn't been well. So they're all over social media and they're trying to go on every TV and radio station now and talk and try to, and people just stoops in right through. So they're rushing to do a show now. I think they said, 50 different artists and all kind of thing. Meanwhile, Made in Grenada has had a 50th Independence Calypso show with people like the mighty Unlucky Inspector Randy and all of them. Since last year, before Christmas, you've been hearing that show advertised. Now it seems as though the Independence Committee realized, hey, that show getting a lot of play. People look like they're going to go to that show. So all of a sudden now, they become interested in doing a show. So you see, they rush now and putting together a show with 50 artists for the 50th Independence and free. Made in Grenada had a show. And I could tell you, if I want to find one, I'll find many Made in Grenada show for sure. I don't know if I will make the next one, but I'm definitely making the Made in Grenada show. Yeah? 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. And I know some of them think that we are afraid to mention things like we hiding things. Let me say something, eh? I see the continuation of that nonsensical and idiotic narrative that this company that they're circulating the documents for, and the people should sue them. The documents that they're circulating there and saying that is what Dr. Mitchell was referring to. Anybody with common sense who is honest to themselves will know that Dr. Mitchell never said what organization. He said that there is an organization from what he has been hearing. He asked a couple people, they said they've been hearing that too. That an investigation needs to take place. Yeah, in relation to the existence of ISIS organization here in Grenada. An ISIS organization. Yeah, here in Grenada. So there needs to be a proper investigation, not obfuscation of the issue. Yeah? Not the interlocutory, is interlocutory defecation that we have been hearing from people like Mr. Anselm Clouden, who is known to be a liar, has been proven to be a liar in court and had to pay and shut up before. But you see, that was over 10 years ago, so a lot of people tend to forget these things about people like Mr. Clouden, that he's not a person that you could trust anything that he says. So while he continues with his interlocutory defecation, in other words, he talk anyway, I can't say that on air, but while he continues with that, yeah, there is the real possibility, let me say it again, the real possibility of an organization that has been found to be associated with ISIS, located, that organization could be located here in Grenada. Yeah? And if the authorities did their jobs, said company would not be registered in Grenada. And if they do their jobs, they would be able to find out said company. And they would know if they were being honest to themselves and if they knew the way that I know, the way that you know that Grenadians are not stupid people, if they knew that and they didn't think that all of us are fools and that all of us probably don't have common sense, because common sense is not necessarily that you went to school and you have a much subjects. That people with common sense who they never even finished primary school, but they have a lot of common sense, very intelligent, but they never even finished primary school. Yeah, that is not encouragement not to finish primary school and secondary school. Children finish school, right? But there are a lot of people with common sense. But again, we will not accuse them of that, because ISIS will not register in Grenada as ISIS. So anybody that takes such a document and sends it to you is a damn fool. You're an idiot. Yeah? Anybody that takes such a document and sends it to you or puts that up on social media and says that is what Dr. Mitchell was talking about is a fool, an idiot, a clown. Yeah? They need to have their brain cells rearranged, because they could not be a normal thinking human being. Because even if they think that they could put that out and fool Grenadians, I know Grenadians are intelligent. I ain't guessing. I ain't saying I think. I know Grenadians are intelligent. They know that ISIS, that every single intelligence agency on the planet is looking for. Yeah? Every single government is keeping out an eye for. They know that such an organization would not be dunce enough to go in any country and register under their name. They're going to use another name. So all the idiots, I think probably you might have to give up your law degree, because you have to be extra stupid. You, Mr. Clouden, you have to be extra stupid to actually believe that that nonsense that they're circulating there is what is being referred to. Not because you went and you lie last time and you end up in court and you lose the case and you end up having to go and apologize. Means that people forget, a lot of us still had the video somewhere there, where you had to apologize. I think I still had the newspaper clipping where you had to put it in the papers to apologize too. So don't think that some of us out here forget all you. It's that the people like you and the other one who was talking about the Prime Minister shouldn't be living in there because he's looking down on River Road and all this kind of thing. All you feel people forget all you, and all the court case, all you lose in relation to defamation and those kind of thing. Yeah, that is all you feel. But there are many of us here that we ain't forget you. Yeah, we remember you. Are old by young. So I remember a lot of those things. Right? 4407377. Nonsense. Idiots. Yeah? And call them out for what they are. Anybody send that to you, ask them if they're going crazy or if they just doesn't think. Seriously. So because it says ISIS, I have a friend named ISIS. That's a birth name. That's a name when she was born. That's the name that her mother gave to her. That's a good friend. I have a friend named ISIS. That's her first name. Yeah. So I've known of ISIS before because ISIS was it's supposed to be an Egyptian god or something like that. Yeah. So you think that somebody's stupid enough to be involved in that organization or some group of people, because the moment they did that and the United States hear that name and the algorithm picked that up and they start to check and so on, and they realize that, hey, these people registered here. Well, they get a line into them, and because they know who they are now and they know how to trace them and track them and do what they have to do. Yeah, send a drone, organize, them kind of thing that does do. Right, so they know. So only a fool would circulate that document and try to pin that on Dr. Mitchell and say that's what it is. Do all your work. Find out which organization is being referred to. And once you find out which organization, immediately get rid of that organization from Grenada. And immediately whoever was involved in registering that organization, you all need to have some words with them. Yeah? So that needs to be addressed. Stop the stupidness and the obfuscation and trying to cloud the issue and twist the issue and turn the issue and thing. You all started that foolishness with Terry earlier this week and you all continue with Clouden and all of them. Stop the stupidness. I ain't going to even mention the other idiots on social media, because really and truly, they too dunce to pay attention to. I just being straight up with it. Yeah? I really can't. Reading some of the, going and looking at some of them Facebook profiles, I lose brain cells. Yeah? I ain't gaining nothing to help build me or improve me looking at some of them. So I don't go to, there's certain social media pages I don't go to. And folks, let me tell you, a lot of times people message things to you and they send it, and so, you know me, I am very funny with certain things. If somebody send me a video of somebody talking about COVID-19, I don't know who the person is, I go on to something else. I don't watch it. Because unless I know who you are and your qualifications, because I know during that period of time, you had a lot of videos with a lot of false information circulating with people who say there's doctor, and when you do the background check and so on, you realize this person never even went to medical school, but they calling themselves doctor this, and they just go in front of a mic and a camera and they start to talk, and people start to listen to them, and people start to spread what these people's doctor so and so said it, but the person is not even a doctor. So be very careful of your sources of information. There's certain things people send to me I don't read. Certain things people send I don't look at. By the time I watch 2-3 seconds into it, I say there's nonsense. Somebody WhatsApp something, I read 2-3 seconds into it, I realize, I'm very careful with what I allow to enter up here. And you have to be very careful with that. Yeah? You have to be very careful with that. 440-7377, 347-329-310. Some people being afraid of. So because I talk about them 6 gang and them are supposed to be afraid? No. If they hear, they hear. The authorities have to do what they have to do. Yeah? Engage with the young Grenadians. Engage with them. Find out who is the leaders. Who are the leaders. Deal with them. Yeah? And find out who are the young ones who are involved in it. The young ones who go in tongue in the morning. Go in and load up the book bag in certain location. And then going into different secondary schools around the island. And then have to bring the funds back where they go in tongue on the evening time. Go in tongue and find out. Yeah? Go and find out. I'm supposed to be afraid to say that and afraid of that? No, I'm saying it as it is. If it have an ISIS organization registered here, when I have to go, I have to go. So I'm supposed to be afraid to say that? I'm saying it. When I have to go, I have to go. It's not I don't making that decision. Right? So I ain't afraid. 440-7377, 347-329-310. Don't afraid for me, man. Good. Don't afraid for me at all. Yeah, so folks, and they afraid the conversation on it, that's why they jump on it so early. But while they have one idiot on television talking about it and radio talking about it, they had FIU officers up in Carriacou searching to try and find out which organization it is. Yeah? And that is not a hearsay. That is a fact that they had FIU officers up there trying to find what organization and trying to see if possibly they could cover it up. Yeah? But then when you have members of this administration on a near weekly basis finding themselves in certain Middle Eastern countries, the possibility increases significantly that these individuals will end up speaking to people who may or may not be involved with one or maybe more of these organizations. That is a high possibility. If you're going into the theater of operations, so you're going into various Middle Eastern countries, and again, this does not mean that every Muslim person is involved in this thing. No, it is not. In fact, I don't think they have any of the Muslims here in Grenada who are the original Muslims here, and so they're involved in this thing. So don't try to start looking at people and saying that is one. No. But I'm saying here that if our government goes into the theater of influence, if you go in a chicken coop, you go get kakapool. So if you're going in the theater of influence and you just decide that you're looking after the money, and people may offer you money and say, well, you're coming to Grenada, Yes, I want to become part of the citizenship by investment and so on. You think that person is known to be a member or affiliate of? They may have their beliefs. And when they come and they register, they use you as the conduit to do what they have to do. Right? So our government needs to be careful. And they need to properly investigate. Don't try to obfuscate the issue and say this doesn't exist. They need to do the proper investigation. And they need to deal with this issue, and they need to come out and tell the Grenadian people the truth. The government, I ain't talking about no NDC mouthpiece. I ain't talking about no NDC affiliates like Clouden. I ain't talking about no NDC mouthpiece like Terry. The government needs to come out and tell us what is taking place with this issue, whether they investigate and whether they ain't bothering to investigate. Because if they ain't bother to investigate, I know that there are other agencies internationally who will. Yeah? And if it is found, or when it is found that said organization is here in Grenada, there will be questions to answer. There will be consequences. Yeah? Just letting you all know. One last time, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Also, just remember, because it's Friday forum, so we're going over everything that we speak for the week and so on. And last night we speak about Nation Builders. Yes, that organization registered to the Prime Minister's buildings. Yeah, not his buildings, because he don't own Excel Plaza, but he has a business there, and you remember they do things through there, right? And on Hobson Building, right? There's no Hobson Building, that's actually Deacon Building. That's there on St. John, right? Operating through them thing and them, nice. So remember, while they were talking about, they take that New National Party passed $6 million through Faith Program. And the Faith Program can account for each and every one of those $6 million. They can account for it. When you calculate the staff that they had, when you calculate the salaries that they had, they can check with the NIS, and they can see the NIS payments on behalf of the people that worked with there. And they can do the calculations for these people, how long they work and the salaries that they were paid. And then the administrative part of it that the Faith organization had to do. And they would see where that $6 million went. But they bad mind and they're wicked. So they're not interested in doing that. They just ain't paying nobody. And if you feel like it, take me to court. Me ain't care. Yeah? Well, take me to court. Me ain't care. All your bad mind and wicked. Yeah? But the same people are talking about $6 million to that have $14 million under the 2024 budget that they intend to pass through the WASH program. And the WASH program is run by who? Nation Builders. The same people who saying that NNP was wrong for putting $6 million through Faith, you know. They're about to put $14 million through Nation Builders. But they're asking people to come and contribute your time. Yeah, come and contribute your time. We having cleanup. Come and help for free. But while they're telling people that, remember, these are the same people that increase their salary to $14,000 and about to increase it even further. Remember, before they increased it to the 40, I told you all that was coming, and I'm telling you all they're looking to increase it even further. Right? So just remember, I told you all that. So look for, don't be surprised when it happens. Just expect that it will be happening. Right? So folks, it's not our first Friday program, but it's our first Friday forum. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who have tuned in with us tonight on the first Friday night forum. We're going to be continuing with the Friday night forums. All right, as much as we can. I might be able to do every Friday, but so far I've said that every week I say I ain't doing next week Friday and I'm doing next week Friday. So far, so good. All right, I'd like to thank all of you that have joined us on YouTube, all of you that have joined us on Facebook, all of you that have joined us on our website. Yes, we do have a Talking Points website. Those of you that have joined us on the website, and those of you, I think Sister Riles would have joined us tonight. And of course, we always have to give our special thanks to We Noise Radio. And before I leave, I must say a very special happy birthday. I may not have enough time to play the tune because it's already after 10. I have to say a very, very special happy birthday to Mrs. Maureen Macphail. A very, very special happy birthday to you. I hope that you have the best, have had the best for the day. And there's your birthday weekend, and not just your day. There's your weekend. So that'll come and bring you out and them kind of tell them to play around, you know, because I will get vexed and thing. Hey, you understand? Right? I know Mr. Hudson Macfield go make sure that you're okay. So, folks, in everything you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. You know what? Yeah, let me if I have, you know, there's a particular song I was listening today, and I feel I want to play that particular song as I'm looking to leave. You know, yeah, I feel I want to play that one before I leave. Right? Let me get it here. Yeah, I had to actually look for it on YouTube today. Yeah, I didn't get the time to put it into the system, right? So I just want to play that particular one, and then on Monday we'll be back with more talking points just for you. All right, nice, beautiful.
People use if your eye too long, trouble will befall you. Going to befall you. And when you're living in good house, sometimes just some bad houses come and call you, call out and call you. It's not to say you must settle for the mediocre, or you must take a lash from man drunk or sober. But sometimes women leave them man, say they're going for better, and the new one they embrace to not to be a monster. Careful what you ask for. Oh, careful what you wish for. Better keep your bird in a hand and pursue your heart's desire, or you will eat from the frying pan straight into the fire. What you cry for, oh, what you prepare to die for. They say better the devil that you had than the one you do not know. Before you end up on the floor, swash up like a mosquito. Careful what you ask for. Monster, all you hear me? Careful what you wish for. So why you upset? You ask for it. Hey, well, take what you get. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Viewing the news the other day, but I was watching the young and restless, so young and restless. This tiny little Indian girl, leave she child father who she swear was worthless, idle and worthless. Moving with a younger man also from Guyana, hit she more back than someone when she feed him chana. The same young boy that she craved but would take she further. Oh, and put she baby in a grave, now she bawling murder. Oh, I wish I could have won she. What you wish for? The same man who made she heart beat fast when she called she baby doll. Beat she worse than 10 Judas, then bashing she baby skull. Careful what you pray for. Oh, might be what you get slave for. They say better the devil that you have than the one you do not catch your breath. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at President Trump, voted in to lead the world's strongest nation. Most